And good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We're
Hi,
live,
everybody.
perfectly live. And today, I am Clara, co founder and co CEO of List Perfectly. But most important, I love reselling, and my specialty was vintage clothing. My store is the Clothing Vault. But today, I'm joined by an amazing group of not only amazing resellers, but also List Perfectly team members. So let's go with our most experienced team member, Trish. Could you please share, introduce yourself and share with our audience what do you sell?
Sure. My name's Trish Glenn, the director of operations at List Perfectly, but I've been a full time reseller for just about 10 years, and I'm a volume used clothing seller.
Super sell, Trish.
Super sales Trish.
Woohoo! Okay, Kimberly, please introduce yourself to our amazing audience.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kim. I do just a little bit of this and a little bit of that with List Perfectly. Mainly, I work with community, Facebook groups, that kind of thing. Write blog posts, do testing, just wherever I'm needed. That's where I hop in. And my favorite thing to sell is vintage anything.
I,
Vintage,
I like how you
vintage
say it.
anything.
Anything, okay? But here,
I love it.
if you want to engage on conversations with Kimberly after this live, if you have questions, here's where you post on the List Perfectly Facebook group. All right. And Facebook is a little slow today. So you can go to Facebook, and then you can chat directly with Kimberly, or you can go to eBay Selling Tips, which is sponsored by List Perfectly, and you can post your questions, and then Dana Crawford, incredible eBay Hall of Fame award, she will answer, or anybody in the community. We also have other incredible groups that we love. We have also eBay Selling, the Power of eBay community, and those are places where you can engage in conversation with Kimberly.
Yep.
And yes, I'm going to help Kimberly a little, okay? Not only, okay, she's in charge of this, but she is testing. What are you testing? Or do you want me to send you back to the prop lab?
No, please don't. Pro, Pro Plus.
Oh!
Pro Plus.
So Pro Plus,
Emphasis on the
auto
plus.
list, so we just want to let you know that we're very excited. So that's why we want to prepare you with the right tools. So if you're going to be upgrading to our Pro Plus new List Perfectly plan that is going to be launched just before eBay Open, we want to talk about this taboo topic, okay? That not even eBay Academy. I went to eBay Academy, okay? Or formerly it's called eBay School, and now it's eBay Academy, and they didn't have nothing. eBay had nothing about sell-through rate. So now, audience, I'm gonna introduce you to our youngest and very experienced team member, Josh Gutierrez. Josh, please introduce yourself to our audience, and mention what you do to help me. But what do you like reselling, Josh?
Hey guys, what's up? So hopefully most of you already know what I'm about. I work hard to bring content to this community that's informational, educational, and basically just get the most out of it for you guys to learn. And I've been flipping on eBay for a really long time, like before I even knew what reselling or what e-commerce business was. It just came natural. I was always a little bit of a hustler, and I always flipped cards for a long time. I remember being in school flipping cards to buy my first PlayStation video game, Chrono Cross. Check it out, classic. And then so now here I
Wow.
am,
Uh-huh,
uh,
uh-huh.
involved in the community, and I love this topic because I really had no idea about what sell through rate was when I first started flipping. And I think this is a valuable tool, or valuable information, I should say, for people who are just getting started, because we kind of preach about having to get all of your listings out and like getting that first, I got my first 100 listings out. You already know that, Clara.
Yep.
But people who know how to utilize their tools, such as sell through rate, those
Yeah.
people can kind of have a little more success early on with that information than, say, just listing and forgetting about it. So that's what I hope to tackle with you guys today.
That's
I agree with
incredible.
I agree with Josh completely.
Yep.
Sell-through rate is how you make your money. Sell-through rate is where you make the money on the buy. I worry about sell-through rate when I'm buying, not particularly once I have it.
Wow.
My
Buckle up, audience. I worry about sell-through rate when I'm selling, not when I'm buying. Wow. What's gonna happen? Wait a second. Wait a second.
but I'm
You
set
got
up
here,
differently
right?
than you.
So
I mean,
don't forget, audience, that Trish, okay, that's volume. So can you explain, what is kind of your business model without giving, of course, your secret sauce? But can you explain, because it's very different from me, that is one of a kind, and I can do like days, okay, cherry picking on vintage, and yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And I have an idea that you don't do that.
I don't do that at all. And if I can buy it cheap enough, I don't even look at sell-through rate. I'm going to be completely honest. If I can buy
Wow.
stuff for less than 50 cents an item, I just buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 50 cents an item is kind of like 50 cents an item in lower. I don't even worry
Yeah.
about sell-through rate. I have about 15,000 items and I have enough room for probably 22. So I don't really worry about that. For me, if I'm going to go into a store though and spend real money, and for me, that's $2 or more. If I'm spending $2 or more on an item, okay, then I want to make sure what the sell-through rate is on eBay. And what I'm looking for, I am sure is way, 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 way lower than what Clara would be comfortable with, because
Oh,
she
yeah.
was spending real money. She would spend up for an item to be able to make, crazy money. I am good on things that have a fast sell through rate. For me, if I can buy it at, $5 and sell it for 30.
Wait. What is a fast for you, please?
Well, that's the question of the day, right? That
Oh, yeah.
depends. And before
Yeah.
we get there, does everyone know how to make sure they know how to figure out what the sell through rate is? Does
So first
everyone
of
know?
all, what is the sell-through
I
rate?
think we do have one beginner in here, Cynthia. So I
Okay,
would love
Cynthia,
to hear about it.
we're gonna tell you right now. So, Josh, tell me how you find sell through rate. What's
So
your
I think most people will utilize eBay for that. So we'll just go right. And
okay?
basically, and I know it might be a little hard for me to explain because I don't have anything. But if you have like your app or whatever, you can literally search what you're looking for. And we'll kind of get into the nuts and bolts. I'm sure Trish will and Kim.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you keep your searches broad or like do you go specific? You know what I
I go
mean?
I go specific. So
Yeah, I
I'll
think
just
most
tell you
people
how I
do.
do it. So if I'm finding like men's Levi's, like men's 509 Levi's jeans, right? I will
Yeah.
do the exact ones in the exact size. I don't really worry about the wash as much unless it's a crazy wash, like if it's a black or an acid. But if it's just blue, medium light, whatever, dark, I just look that up. And then I look how many are for sale right now as we speak. So let's just use round numbers. And just so everybody knows, when you do this, you're going to get what's available right at this second. Okay. So right at this second, let's say there's 100. There's way more than 100 of those. Okay. We're just using round numbers so everybody knows. So 100 of them are available. And then I would go in and look at the solds. And I would keep that at the 90 days. It defaults to how many have sold in the last 90 days.
There you
Okay.
go.
So then you would divide those two numbers. You would divide the solds into the what's available and you would get a percentage.
Amount listed versus amount sold, and
Correct.
then, equate it on a certain period of time, and there's
Correct.
your formula.
So
Right.
let's
And
use 180, right? So it would be an 80% sell through rate in the last 90 days.
Exactly.
Now, I'm going to throw a wrench out there, and no one ever has to listen to me say this again, but I'm going to say
Okay,
this.
okay.
If you want to be technical,
Okay.
you should add the 100 and the 90, the 100 and the 80 together, and then do the division. That will give you an accurate sell-through rate. But
Yeah, I get it. It's
okay.
yes, I get it. It's a different
yeah,
way.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like to eyeball it, but you're right.
yeah, that's
Trish.
what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Most
got a
people are
point.
not going to do
I'm
that.
not gonna disagree. Okay, you got a point. And like
I
I
just
felt
don't
a
want
wrench.
to
Oh,
question.
but next time don't throw me a wrench, okay?
Okay, I'm sorry. But so then you
Math
get that
too.
percentage. So that's an easy way. Most of them are not near 80. If you find anything that's 80%, buy it immediately. Okay. Like 80% is crazy high. Hey, Crystal. So that's how you find it. Anybody has any issues asking about that, put it in the chat so we can help you. Josh, is that what you do? And do you keep it at 90 days or do you do it?
Yeah. No, I keep it 90. I don't like to complicate it, especially with kind of how I source. But I want to kind of take it back to whenever I was first sourcing in the beginning, because I kind of did more of what this community is doing now, which is mostly clothes and stuff like that. So like I think what you're looking for when you're getting started is really just the best way to source. So like, I think what people want to know to me is like, how can you utilize sell-through rate to source and kind of get ahead early on what's actually selling? And so, for example, you could like do a broad search of Old Navy jeans. You can see that there's like 10,000 listing of Old Navy, but only 2,000 sold. It was something like that. Such a low. So that tells you right off the bat that you never want to do any retail. Well, not never. I'm not going to say never. You could get those 50-cent jeans. You never. But, exactly. But I hope this kind of answers like.
Well, I think that Trish is going to disagree with you. Trish could be like, if I get it for 50 cents, I am buying those ones. Right?
So when you
the importance of being a volume, you need to understand, who are you? What is your reselling business? It's okay. In the beginning, we all started with anything we can flip, right? But this is the importance of understanding. I'm sorry I interrupted you. Hold on a second, Josh, because this is the importance of understanding sell-through rate, because that's going to accelerate your understanding of what's working for you. Even though I might be taking the super mastermind class of Trish and woo, my sales exploded. I can't believe it. Thank you, Trish. Thank you, Liz Perfectly. Thank you, community. But still, that's Trish telling you what to do. But if you understand through this session, our goal is to help you understand the sell-through rate concept and how that will apply to your business, because our small reselling business, or maybe you're not reselling, you're just creating products, handmade or anything like that, that it's very different how we measure sell-through rate through different categories. And that's just something important to understand, that I wanted to address the inventory turnover with the sell-through rate. That means, okay, that you are understanding what sells faster than other things, and that's resonating better with your business and your store and the channels you're using.
Okay, and I just would like to say Josh's example of 10,000 pairs of jeans, right? With 2,000 sold. That's a 20% sell-through rate. Josh, I would buy a 20% sell-through rate.
Would you? Yeah. There you go. This is stuff that I don't know. Yeah.
For $1, I would buy them for $1. I might even buy them for $2.
I'm writing this down. Hang on.
Yep. So if you are a new seller in the audience right now, we're going to keep it simple to you. You're listing 10 listings this week and you sold one item. So now we know your sell-through rate in this case would be what? 10%, right? So understanding so what you're going to be doing is, I don't want you to start listing more and more and more and more and more, and then release. No. What you're going to be doing is the next week, the next 10 listings, is there any way you can accelerate and have now 2 sales in that week? This is the name of the game. How can you accelerate? This applies even for the tiny sellers. Don't forget that List Perfectly gives you 50 listings for free. Okay. Today I'm going to give you real free List Perfectly. Okay. This is real. And you get to choose in like approximately, woohoo. Okay. In 13 minutes, I'm going to be giving free List Perfectly to those ones that you never tested. But if in case you're not watching this live, don't worry, because I still give you 50 free listings on List Perfectly, and you get that there is no gimmicks, no expiration date. You completely own it. Once it's cross-posted, that's it. Even if you cancel, List Perfectly, it'll stay live on all marketplaces you used it. So I want you to take advantage, even if you're a small seller, of those 50 listings. And then you're going to see, okay, in that, because it's 5 days or 50 listings. Unfortunately, in this case, you wouldn't have the luxury to have, by week. So in this case, why don't you do, because it's 50 listings, 5 days, do 10 a day, and then measure on a day, did you get any sales? Because I know that if you are, imagine, it's the same inventory. Now they are going to be having it on 5 different marketplaces, or at least 3 different marketplaces. That's your chance to start measuring, even there, your sell-through rate.
Well,
Even there.
that's an interesting thing, because, there's always going to be a different sell-through rate on different marketplaces. That is why when Josh said, I use eBay, I agree. eBay has the most listings. It has the most sold. So eBay will give you a good representation of what's happening. So for me, and what Josh said earlier also, and I don't know, Kim, how you do this, but Josh also said, when he's just looking, he wants to do it like quick and dirty. If you're doing it quick and dirty, right? Look at, I don't know if those were your words, but that's what I heard. If you're looking at it like that, just go in and see. I think you want to, if there's 1,000 available and 500 sold, in your head, you should know that that's a pretty good sell-through rate. It's when the numbers are smaller and they start to, there's only so many, if there's ever more available, more sold than available, right? Buy that immediately. You don't even have to think about it. If there are 5 available and 10 sold, buy that item, because you don't even have to worry about it. That's more than you need. So sell-through rate, if you can just get it in your head, kind of like what you're looking for, have some parameters, then when you're shopping, you can do this really quick. The thing about figuring it out is, once you understand what it shows you, it gives your buying power more. You're not guessing. You're not taking a whole bunch of stuff and throwing it against the wall and seeing what sticks. You're not doing that. You are deciding by using real metrics. Is this shirt worth my $4.99? Is this worth my $2.99? Is this
or is this Old Navy worth my 50 cents in case you are? But it is, it's worth it. It applies because you do love volume. So this applies whether I'm a tiny seller, I'm a medium-sized seller, or I'm a super volume, super sell-through seller.
Correct. And it also helps you in the sense of that you can figure out kind of how fast things should move. If the sell-through rate is in the positive, meaning more sold than available, that's going to sell pretty darn fast. So you definitely want to buy those things. And when the sell-through rate is smaller, maybe the sell-through rate is very low, but the amount it sells for is very high. Then you have to decide, is this worth sitting on for a year to make $1,000? So then that's a whole nother question. Do you have enough space? Do you have this? Do you have that? Do you have the 1,000? Do you have the whatever money that it takes to be able to sit on it? Do you have?
Yes, I was going to tell you that's important. Do you have the backup or contingency plan to afford not to let that go and get on desperation on summer when we're desperate? Okay, if you didn't plan to sell a summer product, there you go, sell-through rate to the rescue.
Correct. And you also want to think about, do you have enough cash to be able to keep going? If you're somebody like me who's spending a lot of money, but that's true. Space. So do you have enough space? Do you have enough money? All of these things can help you when you're looking at items and you see the sell-through rate. You can decide, is this going to sell fast enough? Am I going to get my money out fast enough? If those 2 things are important to you. So you have to figure it out. And that's why numbers are scary. People hate looking at this. People want the fun of shopping and going out and the bargain.
Don't we all like the sourcing part? And I'm like, oh, this is so cute. I never had one of these in this condition. Oh my God, there is a batch of 100. I'm so getting it. What a deal. And then you come back home and then you realize it was a good deal, but not such a wow deal. Exactly. Only research on your sell-through rate.
Right.
Yeah.
Kim, do you use it while you? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say it's a completely different animal when you like to sell vintage items, and if they're a little on the rare side, it's actually fun to go in and try to do a sell-through rate, and then you don't find anything that's similar that's listed, because then you're like, well, I don't have a way to do this mathematically, but I can look at this and go, hey, I paid $2 for it. I can name my own price, so with vintage items and things that are a little rare or something like that, it is a little different. So sell-through rate, I do look at it, but it's one of those things that it's a little, and I probably shouldn't say this, but it's a little less relevant when you're dealing in vintage items and more rare things.
Yeah.
You have to kind of look more at, okay, how much am I actually going to profit, on that. But like I said, that's the fun part. That's one of the things I enjoy about vintage items and that kind of thing. When you go in and you don't find one, it's like, oh, hello, I get to name my own price on this,
So Sean wrote thoughts on difference between sell-through rate between using the app versus using the site versus using Terapeak. Some search terms would give you results.
Okay, I love it. Okay, so when I'm thinking, is he referring to the eBay application versus the site Terapeak? I'm assuming you're not meaning List Perfectly, because there is also sell-through rate through List Perfectly app. Okay, that will explain if you want later. But if you could clarify that, now I'm gonna take a guess that is between eBay application and versus Terapeak. So Terapeak was acquired by eBay. The part of Terapeak is the compartmentalization of the data they provide versus eBay giving you the data maybe not in fully analyzed, where you have to calculate maybe your own listed, your own sold throughs, whereas Terapeak, you can enter the analysis by your store, and then Terapeak will break down. The only thing I can't remember, can anybody help me, is 3 months now or a year, because I used to be a subscriber of Terapeak for $179, if you don't remember, 10 years ago. And we would have
2 years.
2 years.
Terapeak is now 2 years, and it comes with anybody who has an eBay store subscription.
Go, Lucan. I love Lucan. Go, Lucan. Good for you, man. You did it. Lucan is the CEO of Terapeak that was acquired by eBay. And I'm looking forward to see you, Lucan, on eBay Open 2023. Hopefully you'll come here to Phoenix. It's not confirmed which team executives will be here in Phoenix. So, Sean, Gay, okay, I hope that we address. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
He did. He said mobile app versus the full site versus Terapeak. I don't think there's much difference in the data you'll receive back from the mobile app versus the full
For me,
site.
the Terapeak data, okay, for me, okay, at least with my clothing and one of a kind, gave me not only the capacity of see my sell-through rate, but it would give me also the comparables that I did.
Yep.
So whereas with eBay, I think everything disappears, okay? The capacity of the links and going a little deeper disappears after 90 days.
I think, I don't know what you guys think, but I think this depends on what you sell. I have not looked at Terapeak
absolutely
other than for the hell of it in a long time. Terapeak and I don't really, I sell used clothing. Terapeak is not the greatest thing for that. Vintage, Terapeak. Antiques, Terapeak. Expensive items, Terapeak. Electronics, art.
Oh man, I sold those broken laptops, guys. If you have broken electronics, please, okay. Yes, I'm all about donating to Goodwill, okay. And beautiful, they will make sure that they don't send that junk, okay, to the third world countries, which we're exhausted of, okay. But if you can sell it on eBay, because so many people need the other parts, even though your screen or maybe you spill something, as long as you're honest, and it's incredible. Terapeak helped me to understand the sell-through rate of broken electronics.
Do you use Terapeak, Josh?
No. And for me personally,
just kidding.
Especially as a smaller seller, like, I think I just like the convenience of just being in my eBay app, and it's mostly for when I'm sourcing. So like, I know there's a lot of time and research that goes into Terapeak and things like
Wow, so you
Terapeak.
start without Terapeak? Oh my
Oh
God,
yeah,
I
yeah.
feel
Well, it's just
blind.
easier for me.
Really, I would feel like I'm with
Yeah.
a white stick, okay, and like I gotta go and touch every item, to understand and then understand the weight of it. But I can't imagine, Josh, sourcing. What data do
Well,
you use
I
then?
would like to. This is a good time
Yeah,
to bring it up because I know Trish kind of touched on it. Is that
yeah,
we're talking about sell through rate as a way to kind of like increase our skills as sellers and help us with our stores and make sales faster. But also, you do kind of have to have, and this comes with time. Like anything that you do that you want to be successful at, we want you to do it as fast as you can. Of course, get off the ground as fast as you can, but everything is going to take time. Like Cynthia, you said you were kind of struggling getting your listings out because maybe it feels a little overwhelming. I was the same way, especially with eBay. But I mean, once you get that out of the way, then we can kind of move forward to the next steps. And that's so knowing what you want to do as a seller. Because for me, when I'm searching for cards and I'm looking at STR, like I'm searching for players, specific players, and it's kind of a broad search to kind of just see what's out there in the market. But just because there is not a lot of listings or not a lot of solds for cards in particular, that is not a bad thing. So like if there's no listings out on, let's just say, Josh Allen rookie card, I think a lot of
yeah.
football fans should know who Josh Allen is. There's not a lot of listings out. There's not a lot of solds. I want
Sorry.
to go ahead and get that listed. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like
See, yeah.
from that aspect, like STR matters and we want to know what it is and how to utilize it, but it's not always strictly about the numbers. And I know like Trish kind of mentioned that as well. She doesn't always go by the numbers depending on what she's selling. And in Terapeak, it's a great tool. I highly encourage everyone to go and just check it out and see if it works for you. I just don't necessarily. I like the app. I like the app. I like using Google Lens. Like those things are simple and easy for me.
There you go. So you use Google Lens. That goes. So a newbie here, vintage time. I love your handle. Okay, I love it. So it says, can you actually define sell-through rate? Yes, and how to figure out. Very simple. There is very beautiful definitions. Okay, and I know Trish, but I'm gonna give just a simple definition. You're gonna grab the amount of your listed items and then the amount sold, and you're gonna analyze it on a certain period of time. And then you're going to use that certain period of time again and again. You're going to repeat that formula. And the idea here is that by repeating the analysis of your sell-through rate, let's say that you're new, okay, I want you to do it weekly, okay, you're going to list 10 items. And if you sell one, that means that you have a 10% sell-through rate in 1 week. If you listed, 20 items and now you have 10, that means you have 0.5% sell-through rate. You see, so the name of the game is how can you list the same amount and sell more? By understanding sell-through rate, that is going to help you not only to understand listing optimization, because now you know where your efforts, if you're listing with the right keywords, if you're listing with the right images, if you're listing with the right pricing. So not only with that, it's going to help you with effective inventory management. It's going to help you also with maximizing your margins by getting your pricing. Your pricing is going to be optimized too. So I cannot emphasize how important it is to understand, especially if you're new. So you're in the right place. And if you ever need more clarification about 2 minutes to give free list perfectly to whoever doesn't have free list perfectly. Okay, 2 minutes.
Before we do that, I just want to say the sell-through rate is the total units sold divided by the total units available for sale. Because Clara did a lovely job of telling you what it was, but she didn't tell you how to do it. So I just want to make sure you know how to do it. So it's how much is available. I mean, total units sold divided by total units available. Okay. There is another way you can do it. You can.
And I like to say, I disagree slightly because I say how much you listed versus sold. For me, units available. Let's say that.
That's your store sell-through rate. That's your store sell-through rate. I agree with you completely. Yeah. That's your store sell-through rate.
Yeah.
But I was talking about if you're in a store figuring out if you should buy it or not, you need to look at the item sell-through
Oh,
rate.
yeah. So you see, guys, we're looking at sell-through rates from the acquisition of products, and we're also talking about the sell-through rate that is important to understand when you are listing versus what sells. So no, that's a good point, Trish. Yeah, please elaborate with that.
Yeah. Before we go on, Sean had a backup question. He wrote, I'll share examples in the Facebook group, blah, blah, blah. But he wrote, where does Terapeak pull their data? Okay, so I just want you to know Terapeak is now owned by eBay. eBay only used to give us 30 days, then it went to 90 days worth of data. So when Josh and I pull up those numbers we're talking about, we're doing it in the app. So we're getting 90 days of data from eBay. Terapeak, so eBay gives all of their data to Terapeak. Terapeak then
only,
only eBay. So Terapeak now is giving all of eBay's data, okay, 2 years. So you have 2 years worth of data to figure out if that mid-century modern ashtray is worth buying or not. Because maybe one has not sold in 90 days. I was trying to think of something that wouldn't have sold in 90 days. Maybe that wouldn't have sold in 90 days, but I bet in the last 2 years it has sold. So that's where the numbers are coming for Terapeak.
Exactly. So that's the reason we love Terapeak. And when I have to build an integration with a pricing solution, I thought, okay, I love Terapeak, love you, Lucan, okay, but that's just eBay data. At the same time, eBay has the biggest amount of data from all the platforms, even bigger than Shopify, because Shopify is not a marketplace. So for me, it was good. And then there is smaller companies, okay, that it's just, I didn't want to go with that because they only analyze based on the data that they were able to acquire. And then I was like, no, let's go with the big head honcho here and let's integrate Google Lens to all the plans of List Perfectly. So that's what we have done. So I suggest you, Sean, never underestimate the value of the Terapeak data, but compare it with the Google data. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, there's definitely nothing, especially if you're in vintage or maybe you specialize on certain things that you don't necessarily know how they're selling because there's not a lot of. Just because there's not a lot of something doesn't mean that it's not a worthwhile purchase, not at all. But, as Trish explained, if you can go all the way back to however far back you can, you definitely want that data for your store, of course. Absolutely.
All right. And it's the time to announce the winner. So I'm gonna do it. Okay. So we have Tony B. All right. Congratulations.
Tony, finally.
I'm not gonna leave you out of it, Jason. Come on, man. I got you. Okay. So
congrats, Tony and Jason.
Yeah.
You're gonna love it.
You're gonna email shortly. My team is gonna enter an email address where you're gonna email my team so you can get your free month of List Perfectly. Make sure that you get these email address. Oh, you're so welcome, Tony. You're so welcome. We recommend you to try the Pro plan, and then when you decide 1 month of the Pro plan plays for the whole year. But let's say that you're in a very tight situation. Okay, you can always downgrade, and you're gonna just do a little more manual work, but at the end of the day, the essential of the plans are the same. And there we go. Yes, please email Tiffany@listperfectly.com to fulfill your free month of List Perfectly. And thank you so much. Okay, just make sure you save this email. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. Okay. So now we can move forward. Okay. And then thank you again, our beautiful audience, for supporting List Perfectly. Now, what about seasonability? The sell-through rate helps with seasonability. I see Josh saying yes. What do you think, Josh?
Well, yeah, and I'm glad you brought it up because I wanted to bring up the resources that eBay gives its sellers, and that's their newsletter where they talk about everything that's trending and things that are coming out and right now. And this is probably true across most of the marketplaces right now, but like what I'm seeing is like, yesterday was opening night of the NFL, right? We saw a surplus of Super Bowl
Oh yeah.
jerseys and shorts and shirts being sold. And now,
Yep.
on top of that, winter coming up, now we have sports team beanies being sold. And these are all things that you can find,
Yeah.
on eBay in their newsletter. And then, very likely what you'll find is whenever you're looking these items up, the sell-through rate is up. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. So I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah. No.
Do you?
Uh-huh.
I don't worry about this. As in, I'm an opportunity buyer, right? I want to buy. So if I walk into a store, like right now, I would go buy bathing suits. If somebody had bathing suits on clearance, I would go buy them right now because we're getting into winter. So I think some of this is knowing, okay, what the seasonality is, but being able to use it in our buying best power. So if you're somebody who
I love what you're saying. Bravo. Yes. Always buy on the opposite seasons. Don't be buying winter stuff on winter unless you have someone that is like, literally, I'm out of business. Get this out of me because my leasing, if I don't evacuate this tomorrow, my lease is going to be charging me, I don't know, $1,000 per day, which is a common situation, right?
Yes, absolutely. And so the guys who just won, congratulations to both of you. But one of the things you guys get with your List Perfectly subscription is you get a subscription to Listing Party. And Listing Party is kind of like this, what we're doing right now. And I have a mastermind class every morning at 9 a.m. on the East Coast, 6 a.m. on the West Coast. And this is one of the things, we talk about these kind of things about sell-through rate and about what to do and how to do it. And one of the things that came up last week, and I think Josh put it in the chat earlier, was about your quality listings report. eBay gives us all the tools to be successful. eBay wants us to be successful because the more successful we are, the better they are. So they want us to be successful. If you are not somebody who is looking at your numbers, who's running your reports, who understands these things, show up at some of these listing parties. We want you guys to understand what you're talking about. We want you to understand what your numbers mean. We want you to know how your listings compare to other people in your same category. That quality listings report that I think Josh put up was, one of those things. When I ran it, I was the 25th top seller of scarves. I was like, really?
Wow.
I mean, no, and it's right. It sounds nuts because I don't even feel like I sell that many scarves, but I think I sell a lot for. Thanks, Amy. I sell a lot for, because how many people are selling scarves? But I'm being, compared to other people who sell the same things I do. So when you learn this, you're like, all right, maybe I should buy more scarves. Like maybe I'm not paying enough attention to this area.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm from Boston, Tony. Sorry.
From Boston.
I know. Scarves. So anyways, but the other thing that came up the other day in Mastermind. The other thing that came up in Mastermind this whole past week that I think that Josh kind of touched on, and then Clara, was having a little bit, you want to have some extra money. You want to know where your money can work for you. So have a little bit of extra money, work yourself up, save some extra money. Don't put it all directly back into your business immediately. Save some extra money. So when these things happen, when a store is closing, when the season changes, you can be like, oh crap, I got $500. I can go buy all those beanies. 75% off. I can go buy those swimsuits. One day, there was a Walmart closing in my area. I went and I bought all of the underwear because it was 90% off. So I bought like carts and carts and carts full of underwear.
Wow, what a deal. That's why you should be looking at the same. And if you're not, let's say, retail arbitrage, and you're doing, let's say, like Crystal, okay, vintage clothing or access or vintage anything, okay, just know that this same concept applies.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. People, I mean, they will have a 90% off sale at Plato's Closet every season to be able to, thanks, Tony, to be able to get rid of the stuff. So it absolutely applies across the board. But being able to have that little bit and know how to go in and buy in bulk when you have the opportunity, but do not buy anything in bulk without checking the what? Sell-through rate.
Sell-through rate. Please.
So,
I would
Trish,
say,
real quick, Trish.
Yeah.
Sorry, Claire. So, what you're now? Say it's July 4th.
Yep.
You're
Okay.
in the outlet. I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe you're at I don't know, Ralph Lauren outlet. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
And you see a huge clearance sale on last year's winter gear.
Yep.
Are you necessarily concerned about the sell-through rate with those types of deals?
If it is cheap enough, I don't even look at the sell-through rate. I'm
No.
gonna be honest, because
that is
if
true.
it's
If
cheap
it is
enough,
cheap enough, if you know that it's like, for example, a medium decent brand. I'm not telling you Eileen Fisher, Coldwater Creek, okay? No, okay. But I'm telling you a decent brand, okay? And you're like, it's $10 a piece. Holy moly, just dive in and get it. Now, if it gets, you need to check, just want to make sure, because if you're getting that deal, who else is going to be getting that deal as well? So you just want to, I also, when it's volume, because I consider doing volume, I did that with a little retail arbitrage with North Face, and I did look at the sell-through rate. Of course, as a vintage seller, my sell-through rate, okay, was approximately 6 months. After that, I consider myself a collector. It was not for me. I knew that wasn't my product unless it was leather. Now, vintage leather, you can sit on that, okay, and it'll say usually it's like a year. So it's different how sell-through rates applies to different categories, and that's why you need to use the tools that eBay gives you to understand. Because if Josh is like, you can't compare to Josh or Trish or Kim, even though Kim and I, we might be doing vintage, okay, it's very different. You don't know, her consistency on listings or quality of listings. You don't know the quality of the items. Okay,
right.
You don't know, because that's why the sell-through rate is so different to her. Like, I'm sorry, I get everybody taking over me because I get too passionate about it. And then don't get me started with listing quality. Don't get me started with listing quality, listing optimization.
We're just talking about sell-through rate, but I want to say to Josh's point, when he said, would I check that sell-through rate? I was just sitting here thinking, if it was brown or black or beige or white, wouldn't even check the sell-through rate. If it was fluorescent, crazy pattern, like something very different, I would check the sell-through rate, because, hey, Ken, because I sometimes think that those, like a bright orange or a fluorescent, or maybe that might be like in fashion and then out of fashion. Things that are just everyday plain stuff, even high end, but you know what I mean, color wise, things like that.
Yeah.
Just buy it. But if it was orange checkered, I may think, is this worth buying at all? Why is it here? And I would look it up. So
what a difference with vintage. Oh my goodness. Forget about the style and brand. And this is how I made it, guys, because this was how I analyzed my sell-through rate. So I didn't do so good with women's clothing. There was no way. Shoes, oh my God. No matter what I did, even if he had like a little scarf, okay, I couldn't pass from I'll give you $10. No, like, are you kidding me? I paid 20 for this. So even though it was supposed, it just wasn't for me. But I love that you're mentioning that, because sometimes not only you have seasonability influencing what you're going to be sourcing, but also you got to understand the seasonability of your audience. When is it on high demand? And that, again, is understanding your sell-through rate.
And again, I think Josh is right. I hope everybody belongs to the eBay newsletter. I hope you're subscribed to our newsletter. But getting the information.
And if you haven't subscribed to this newsletter, please subscribe to the eBay newsletter. What is free? Okay, I promise you they're not going to charge you an insertion fee. Okay.
But being able to know kind of like what's coming up on the horizon, and I also think Josh had a really good point when he talked about like football starting yesterday. Like what's a big movie coming out? Like when Barbie was coming out, everybody and their mother was buying pink items. It was awesome. I've seen it also. It was good. So, but like if Barbie is big right now and you have a lot of pink stuff, put it on sale, move it along, and then the other thing that sell-through rate can do for you is help you figure out for pricing. If a million have sold and they're all within a certain price point and you need to buy it lower than that price point. So if a whole bunch of these sold and they roughly sold for $20, you can't spend $20 for that item. You shouldn't spend $10 for the item.
Yeah.
You only sold it
I
twice.
learned that the hard way, by the way. Losing money on my sales. I have
We
negative
all
5.
do.
I'm like, what the heck?
We all did, my love.
we
We
learn.
all
did
did.
it.
We all did. Oh, and don't get me started with one time I forgot the zero and I have a pair of big Levi's with the orange tab and the big E. And it was supposed to be 1,000 and I put it 100. Of course, it's all right away and it's eBay. And I already canceled a couple of sales. Okay. So I was like, okay. I can cancel this one.
Do what Clara does. Do not cancel sales.
Oh, I try. Well, you have to cancel if you don't have the item to deliver. You have to cancel. It just hurts, your standing. If you don't have the item, you don't have it happens, sir.
That is why you need List Perfectly with sales detection. So that will because if you show up to my mastermind class ever, you will hear me say account health, account health, account health.
Yep.
The only thing you can control, right? The only two things you guys can control are what you buy. Well, there's 3 things. What you buy, how much you list, and your account health. You cannot control what people buy. You cannot control the algorithm. We do not know it. The only things you can control are what you can do. And what you can do is make sure your account health stays in good standing. Because Clara's right. Stuff will happen. You want to make sure you're always in good standing. You do not want to lose your account. eBay does not do it easily. It takes a lot to lose an eBay account. But once it's lost, you're not getting it back.
Yeah,
so
no.
You don't want that to happen.
They don't mess around.
Castle B says inventory value times sell-through rate equals yearly revenue. Wow, Ken, go there. Woo-hoo! Preach it. Yeah, preach it, Ken. Preach it.
And I just would like to point out for the community that a lot of what I have learned about sell-through rate and even eBay newsletter and all of that has been from the Hustle Bee. I also learn a lot from Flippin' Hippo. So there's people in this community right now that when we're down here, you can go and keep on learning. And Cynthia, I saw you had a question about your descriptions, and I promise I'll get to it.
Okay. And I think that Ken, it's funny because Ken comes to my mastermind a few times a week usually. And what's interesting about Ken is he and I have a very different way of looking at. He came in one day and talked about the value of his store. And I thought, well, who the hell looks at that? In my head, I didn't say that to him.
Oh my God. I love looking at the value. That was you know what? You just touched a topic that I was like, Amanda, how could it be that we don't have a fee? I love looking at the value of my store, the total amount of listings that I have active and published, and then I subtract the cost of goods, and then I can do my projections. I'm all about projections.
And I never looked at it like
and
that.
That's my cool, Amanda. I love it that the Pro plan right now we don't have a way. You have to kind of do it with the download of the CSP, but I want to have just one button list perfectly that tells me how much is the value of my items listed.
Okay, well, eBay does that. So you can always see what the value is of your store. But I never paid attention to it. And when he came in and was talking about, he doesn't worry about how many listings he does. He worries about what the value is that he puts out every day. And I thought, oh, like, it was like, I wish, I wanted the light bulbs in front of my head because I was thinking, what does that mean? What does that do? Thanks, Ken. He's on the West Coast, so it's 6 a.m. for him. But he talked about it, and what I love about our community, what I love about Mastermind. Tony asked info on your Mastermind class, Trish. So it's just every morning once you sign up for List Perfectly, which you got the free month, you can automatically sign up for Listing Party. It's the same credentials. And then you go in and you hit events, and there's different events every day. So we have a Mastermind class every morning, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 a.m. Pacific. But then there's different ones. There's a 411 class. There's which is just information. There is different specialty classes. Clara does a motivational class every week. Doug does a class. We do them on a whole bunch of she does one. Star does one on true crime and lists where they just get to
I love it.
crime and listings. But what's great about it is it's where you want to be. If you're somebody who is good and you don't want to dig down, if you're just a casual seller, there are definitely places you can go and it's not, intense. If you're somebody who wants to get to the next level, come to our 6-figure. It's twice a week. We do a 6 people who want to get to the 6 figures. So Listing Party will meet you where you're at. And if you want to grow, you can use Listing Party to grow. But and then there's a 24-hour hangout room. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you, Crystal. Rosie's Closet just said there's a 24-hour hangout room that's available 24 hours a day. You show up. Sometimes there's, 10 people in there. Sometimes there's 1. Sometimes there's nobody, but you go back an hour later. You never know what's going to happen. Do you sign up for List Perfectly on the website? Yes, ma'am. listperfectly.com. You can go there and see all the information. But we also want to be part of the community. We want anyone, whether you use us or not, to be successful. That is why we do these. We are not just trying to preach to our choir. We want everyone to know that not just the tools we have, but the tools eBay gives you, the tools that give everybody the availability to be able to get, bigger, stronger, faster. List Perfectly is just one of the ways. Can you do it on your own? Of course, but it's going to take longer. So I am longer. A lot longer.
No
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. But that's something that I want to emphasize, when I started reselling 13 years ago, but let's say the truth, eBay wasn't very open about, hey, how do I do shipping? What's the best, and you would and the question would be taken down. Now that's gone. And now we have this incredible opportunity that you can tap into other people's experiences, resources, maybe support, maybe knowledge, and even financial. Sometimes if you get along with another seller, you will even find financial support. So whether you attend the Mastermind in Listing Party or you're going to the community of eBay, and if you're not doing eBay Academy too, I know that eBay Academy, that's eBay. You need to put an article about sell-through rate, okay? I did check on eBay Academy. There is no information there, but this is why you're watching us, that we have a lot of experience with this, and eBay does. Can you talk a little about the eBay listing quality report? Because I think that's very important for those of us that maybe are getting started, and it's like sell-through rate. Okay, wait a second. Okay, the amount of listings I listed, the amount of listings I sold, and so forth. But what about, if I don't know where to start? And I think that's a great tool because someone mentioned earlier.
Do you guys, have you all run it? Have you run it, Kim? Have you run it, Josh?
Yeah, I've done it.
After you, sorry, go ahead. After you, was it last week? What week? I don't know. It was a previous show
2 weeks ago, but
where you actually talked about it, Trish, and I didn't even know it existed until you had mentioned it. And that's when I went in and ran it for myself. And it was like, oh, wow, that is full of some good stuff.
It is. Josh, what did you get out of it?
That my listings could be way better. And despite that, I still make sales, by the way. Good. Please go check it out. It's so important, especially if you're new. Like, just see what they have to say about the stuff that you've been putting out, because ultimately that right there is what's going to fast track you to kind of making your sales faster without having to go through that grind of getting like 1,000 items up, and that's going to be the best way to make sales, of course. But
So tell me, well, I am a grinder, and if you come to Mastermind or to 6-figure,
it's okay. Me too.
I am saying to people, you have to put the effort in, and there's only 2 ways you can make it in this business. I think you can either put up a lot of listings and you don't pay a lot of.
I call it the hamster on the spinning wheel. Okay, let's go faster.
Or you can get better and better and raise your ASP. Yep. So most people kind of want to meet in the middle somewhere. But if you're just starting and you don't have any money, there are free things. Look up free curb alert. Look up it on Craigslist, look up on Facebook Marketplace. People give free stuff all the time. You can start this, and everybody has hundreds of items in their house they don't use that they could sell on eBay.
Look in your
And I
closet.
challenge you, exactly. I challenge you to go through it and find those items that you do not have to pay for and that you can, list. Because exactly, dumpster diving. Be careful if you do that. Be careful. But yes, you can tell people, I'm going to start an eBay business. Do you have anything I could sell? A lot of people will give you things and be like, yeah, sure. Here, I was going to put it in a yard sale. I'd rather you have it.
But
If you are just
careful, dumpster diving is not trash, okay? If you go on the back of Target, or if you go on the back of World Market or any of those after the holidays, you would see the boxes and boxes of paper ornaments, paper wrapping paper. Man, in California, of course, excuse me, don't get me started going through Beverly Hills, guys, going through the alleys, the things you find, the brands. Oh, it was insane. I have no shame. I came to this country with $1,500, one credit card, and two suitcases. Okay, so I have no shame on saying on my game. Okay, I started humble beginnings here, and so do you, because that's a beautiful thing of reselling online. It's a low entry for all of us, and all you have to do is stick with us. We'll help you with important data like helping you understand sell-through rate and why you should be understanding this on eBay. And then once you conquer that on eBay, you can apply that same concept when you're doing multi-platform selling. And now imagine, okay, the wealth of knowledge you're going to have and the abundance of money and the waste. You're going to avoid waste. You're going to avoid silly questions. You're going to avoid the, I'll give you $10 for it, So that's why you need to understand sell-through rate, to understand better your audience and to understand better your business.
I agree with you completely. Two things. Free cycle websites. There are a lot of places that do free things. Don't dumpster dive in Vegas. It's illegal. Make sure you check your city ordinances where you are. Sometimes dumpster diving is completely fine. Sometimes it's illegal. You just want to make sure.
You should always ask the store. Yep. Always.
Getting free stuff, though, is absolutely doable. And like Clara said, it's a low entry game. I think it's basically a zero entry game. I think anybody can do this. I think anybody can be successful at this. I think that reselling is the great equalizer. Anybody can do this. It just takes time and dedication and not so much money. And like I said before, you then get to the point where, am I going to spend money to make money, or am I going to spend more time to make money? So you just have to make sure. And the listing quality report, you guys can run it. I believe it's under performance. Because one of you guys check where it is. It's right at the top, and you can
Google. You can Google eBay. Nowadays the optimization and the link of information between Google and eBay is perfect. Okay, so you can eBay performance report, and then how to download eBay performance report on Google, and then they'll give you the answer right away.
And what's great about the report is you download it to a CSV. You can use a free service like Google, Sheets if you want. If you don't have Excel, you open it up and it gives you a ton of information. It will go over all of your listings, but it will also go over your categories. So you'll be able to see which categories you really excel at. And it will also tell you if some of the things are, not up to snuff. It will say like, you need more photographs, or, you are not filling out enough things. It is a really good report. It's a really interesting report. It's new. It's just been in beta for a little while. I would absolutely suggest that you guys go download it. It's going to give you some valuable insight.
And it gives you Google shopping ad insights and will let you know why it was rejected by Google, if so.
Yes. So that's the other thing. What was rejected by Google and what you have to do.
Don't forget that eBay and Google, yes, okay, eBay promotes your listings on Google. And like Josh said, this report is going to give you not only eBay, but Google insights. Thank you, Josh.
And thank you to Jill. She just wrote it's at the top of the performance page, right-hand side. I knew it was really easy. I just couldn't remember off the top of my head.
Yes,
Um,
Shanghai says yes, underperformance stuff. We're coming almost to the end of our session. If anybody doesn't have list perfectly, I feel very happy today because I'm going to be the main sponsor of eBay Open 2023. eBay, we're going to sponsor the in-person 4 locations in Phoenix, Philadelphia, Atlanta, and Chicago. And also we're going to be in all the virtual sessions they're going to be having. So I can't wait to tell you that if you don't have LP, let me know right now. We're coming to the close of our session, and we highly recommend you to go to Listing Party. If you haven't created your profile, takes 1 minute or takes 5 minutes, depends of the amount of information you want to give. And you don't have to create a separate login. It's the login of List Perfectly, and you're gonna go and watch Star Bryson experience eBay seller. Meanwhile, they're doing true crime and list, and then, but at least you're not listing alone. Yes, Hassel B, we'll see you in Atlanta. Yes, I can't wait. Yes, I'll be in Phoenix, and thank you, everybody. And what are we last words of wisdom we want to share with our audience? Want to start with you, Trish, because you're so passionate about this topic.
I think knowledge is power, and you guys just need to go look at your numbers and figure out what they mean. And when you're first starting out, sell-through rate is very, very important. You can get very discouraged by spending money on things that don't sell. Sell-through rate, check it all the time.
Wow, preach it. So what do you think, Kim?
Don't base anything on fear. I mean, I hate math. It scares me. It's always been my nemesis, but I do look at these things, and it's not so scary once you get in there and you actually look and get familiar with the stuff. It's a lot less scary. So don't let fear, steer where you're going in anything you do. So.
Oh, thank you, Kim. That's so wise. And Josh, what would you say?
So I think first, so Cynthia, I think just to answer your question real quick, I think it depends what you're listing. For me, I like to have detailed titles, and then in my description, I just use it to say fast shipping and, a couple other little notes. But if you have light clothes, you want to include your measurements and things like that on top of a good title. So as long as you have those basic things, I think it is really just up to you how you want to list. But also what I would like to end with is just, I hope you guys, so I think it can feel like a lot when you first start listing, when you first start learning about analytics and things like sell-through rate and how we can kind of trade, time and energy for money, basically. Yeah, It's going to be different for everyone. If I knew I could make 20 grand as a part-time seller and make 20 grand as a barista, I would be happy with that. It's different for everyone. And I just want to say, I've met multiple six-figure sellers. I've even talked to someone who hit $1 million, no names, but I will say that the one thing they always bring up is how much of a freaking grind it is. And and a lot of them want to get into content for this reason. So it is gonna be a grind, but if you love it, anyone can do it. Anybody, like there's no excuse why you can't. So, just keep on going. And this is the difference, is that the ones who are successful, they know all of this stuff because they've already been through it. So with enough time, whether you fail or you're successful, it doesn't matter. If you keep going, you're going to see changes, and it's hopefully going to be positive for you.
Agreed.
Agreed. Okay, I don't think I can top that. Okay, because what I said, is incredible. So I'm gonna call it a wrap here and just say, exactly what Josh, Kimberly, and Trish said. So there you have it. 4 different perspectives. Take advantage of these. Don't let it go, okay? You have Listing Party now, all right? So if you feel over the weekend that you have doubts and, oh my God, I just finished this episode and I'm like, but I'm going to go back to my old habits. Come on to Listing Party, and we will make sure next week, okay, we start applying your sell-through rate and help you now to be successful. Not that you're not successful, but there is room for more. Let us help you. We're here to help all the time. Thank you, everybody. We love you all. Have a freaking amazing end of the week, and I wish you many, many, many sales. Bye, bye, bye. Thank you. And